we're without Anita Ellis, who is resigned. I haven't heard officially, but I've heard rumors. And once I heard officially, has since resigned since our last meeting. And Mary Beth Burr has resigned since our last meeting. Everybody's here, and we do have a quorum. We have a lot of guests. I'm not going to ask you to stand up and introduce yourselves. You're welcome. We're glad to have you. We're going to have a public recognition first for the people that have signed up to speak. You have 3 minutes, and we're asking that everyone be respectful. We're asking that you stay quiet and if you agree, fine, or disagree, but please do not heckle the speakers along the way. We will listen to public recognition first, and then we will settle on and we'll vote on the agenda, and then we'll have our public recognition. I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda. Joanna?
I have a motion to approve and adopt the original agenda that you emailed to us.
Okay, I don't have a copy of that. Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
3, 4. Opposed? Okay. We will go through this original agenda in this order. Then, and we will try to get through some of this. It could be very long. So, and we may have to table some of it and keep going. Okay. We will have to delete the reports from the managers because they are not here. Okay. Then the next item is public recognition, and our first speaker will be Mayor John Isbell.
Library Board, yes, thank you. I want to welcome you today to this meeting as we address some concerns that resulted from a special event that we had at the Hendersonville Library that left an indelible stain on our community. I was first made aware of this event on Wednesday when I saw a social media post about the Hendersonville Library going woke and not allowing Kurt, Missy, and Riley the opportunity to read to the children. The decision to move to the church was mutually agreed upon by the library director, the representative of the library board, and Kurt's team. On Thursday, the rhetoric continued to increase, and I reached out to the library director and Kurt's team to work towards keeping the event at the library. I saw it as an opportunity to showcase our great library. Friday, I, along with Mayor Clary, met with the library director and Kurt's team to discuss the logistics of the event. On Saturday, I was on site at 7 a.m. to set up cones to guide the line of people expected to attend, and was among the last to leave after cleaning the room with Kurt's team to ensure that the library was as we had found it. I will be honest, the event was not on my radar screen. It was a children's book reading. The target audience was children and their parents. My granddaughter is just a little too young to appreciate the reading, so I had no intentions of attending. Nevertheless, after attending the event, I want to gauge the success of the event by its intended outcomes. What I saw and focused on was the children. I watched a lot of children smiling, laughing, engaging as Kurt, Missy, and Riley read a wholesome, family-friendly message of love for one another. By measuring success against this outcome, I would say the event was a home run in presenting God's love and how we are to love. Now let's address the behind-the-scenes issues that seem to overshadow the success previously mentioned. As Christians, which represents the underpinnings of this event, and all those involved in the planning and execution, we must turn to God's Word for guidance and wisdom. The actions of the library staff did seem unacceptable and should be addressed. 1 Peter 4-8 guides us, and above all things, have fervent love for one another, for love will cover a multitude of sins. If we are being honest, the hateful rhetoric and calls for violence has overshadowed the event and simply cannot be the voice of our community. This very community that I've called home for over 40 years. Also turn to 1 Peter 3:8-11 for more wisdom and guidance. We're called to be God's blessing. Finally, all of you be of one mind. Have compassion for one another. Love as brothers. Be tender-hearted. Be courteous, not returning evil for evil or revile for revile, but on the contrary, blessing, knowing that you're called to this, that you may inherit a blessing. For he who would love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. Let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him seek peace and pursue it. Members of the library board, you have a critical decision that affects the lives and livelihood of several people in our community. I ask that you consider a review of the policies to better address events of this magnitude. I ask that you consider working with the state affiliates to access their resources and develop an annual training program for our library staff to be more effective in their job in managing these situations. We have good people working in our libraries across Sumner County. They serve our citizens well. It is my hope that Mr. Morales and other directors are provided these resources for training, and I am confident that these actions will help mitigate future problems. It is also my hope that we will have another opportunity to showcase the good in our libraries with events similar to Kurt, Missy, and Riley coming to our community. I'll leave you with one final nugget of wisdom that ironically popped up as my daily refresh when I opened my Bible app this morning. Isaiah 55:5-7 tells us, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to the Lord, and he will have mercy on him. And to our God, he will be abundantly pardoned." Thank you for allowing me to address the board. Thank you, librarians, for the hard work that you do each and every day serving the citizens. And thank you for the opportunity for me to serve as your county mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Isbell. The next speaker will be Renee Brewer. And you didn't put your address here, but if you don't mind, we'd appreciate that.
I'm Renee Brewer, and I was asked to professionally look into the situation at the library. I'm a private investigator. After realizing that the person who retained me might be trying to do something that I'm not comfortable with, I backed out of that and began to investigate it on my own. So I'm here today to say this. I don't think I would be here today except for the thing that happened with the librarians, because that small thing was able to make the few other things in the library that were logistically happening, it sent it viral. So 99% of the event was great, 1% something happened, and that made this all go viral. Well, I would like to say I apologize to Alan Morales and the librarians for anything that my post, any stress may have caused them. And I did redo my post and tell people to not come here as a mob and let's have some love in our heart. I also met with Alan Morales, and for those of you who thinks he's a liberal from California, I can assure you he's a hardworking individual that cares about loving the Sumner County citizens as much as I do. I have also been here 40 years. I have a team of 23 women. I know exactly how it can be when someone gets emotionally distressed, and I think we should leave this matter up to the director of the Hendersonville Library to manage his people and the committee to take care of it. But I would ask for everyone to please stop threatening the librarians. Please stop threatening Mr. Morales. If you want to know what my investigation brought, you can call me because it's lengthy and I don't want to waste our time. Stop posting the threats. I believe Mr. Morales is a good choice for the library after meeting with him, and he was very open with me. There was no deception that I detected in him, and I'm a very good judge of people. And I think this is a real opportunity for us to find common ground, and it's possible that those ladies were not emotionally distressed for any political reason. They could have had stress just because of the size of the event or something, but I don't think we should assume why they may have behaved badly or had odd behavior. We really don't know. So if we could just stop threatening people. If you want more details, please call me, and I will be making a post this evening to just kind of highlight some of the positive things that happened here today. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brewer. Shelby Davis.
Renee, I don't know you, but I thank you very much for the comments that you just made. My name is Shelby Davis. My family and I moved to Hendersonville in the summer of 2014. I hold a library certification for grades K through 12 from the State Department of Education in Tennessee. I was a school librarian in Metro Nashville schools for 14 years. I was the senior librarian at Brentwood High School, and I've worked part-time at Brentwood City Library, both in circulation and in children. And I say this to tell you that I realize the various duties and responsibilities of a library director. Alan Morales was hired in 2002. He's faced several challenges that he strived to work on to move the Hendersonville Library from a very good library to an excellent library. And I think he is well on his way to get our library there. If you ever walk into the library, you often see Alan out on the floor. He's helping with behind the circulation desk if he's needed there. He's visiting with the patrons. He has excellent skills with working with the people in Sumner County and Hendersonville. He's done a lot in improving the library. He's done great work with supervising and weeding and in updating our collection. There are numerous programs that are going on. If you don't know, you can do genealogy at the library. You can learn to draw. You can knit. You can do movie nights that are there. From all that I have seen, Alan is an excellent director of the school, of the Hendersonville Library. And again, I go back to what Ms. Brewer had to say. What has caused me the most concern is the backlash, the hateful rhetoric, and the judgment that Alan has received from people who don't know anything about him. Alan and I attend church together. We're classmates in our Sunday Connect group, but I have read numerous posts that he's anti-Christian and even seen him compared to Satan. I stand here to tell you that Alan is none of these horrible things. Alan Morales is my brother in Christ.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Our next speaker is Linda Gilmore. Is that correct?
Yes, my name is Linda Gilmore. I am a former educator and a former pastor's wife. Alan and Cheryl Morales moved to Tennessee in January 2022, and they moved right next door to my husband, Larry, and me. So we have known them for over a year. As Shelby said, they are at our church in our Connect group. We became good friends, so we have shared life together with Alan and Cheryl for over a year. And contrary to what others have said, he does know Jesus as his personal Savior. He is a believer, and he does seek to walk by faith in his daily journey with other believers. So I feel like I have known Alan for over a year, and I can testify that he is a man of character. He did become the librarian director in March 2022, so it's been about a year. And my understanding is there have been minimal to no criticisms or negative comments about his leadership or his staff until a few weeks ago, February 25th. And as has been said, there was an incident that happened. I was not there, but I have heard, I have read contrary perspectives, views, thoughts about what took place. So in lieu of that, I'm asking myself, why can't we sit down? Why can't we talk, as has been suggested, and come to a resolution? Something that's positive, something that we can move forward that's in the best interest of Sumner County, the librarian, the director, Alan Morales, and his staff. So I would just plead with you to pray, consider God's direction, and what's in the best interest of everybody, for God's glory and for the joy of the people here in Sumner County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gilmore. Our next speaker will be Greg Lee.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Leith. I reside at 102 Ruland Circle in Hendersonville. I certainly hope, too, that the appropriate action is taken, whatever that the board may deem necessary. This incident has just brought up some questions to me, and since the managers and directors aren't here, perhaps you can help me with this. My concerns are twofold. The first, are there any materials in the children's section or even in the young juvenile section that a Christian parent would find offensive? Does anybody know what we have in our library? That's a question. So you don't know?
No.
I see. That's not encouraging.
No, we're not allowed to answer.
You're not allowed to answer?
No, not very.
Okay.
You can only make comments.
I see. On my many trips to the library, I have noticed that they have decorations, themed decorations, and it's my assumption that these decorations showcase an event or a history, a nationality, and I also want to make the assumption that these decorations and their promotions are what they are, represent the character and the values of the citizenry of the taxpayer-supported library. Not outside interests, not what the flavor of the day is in the swamp in Washington, D.C., or what social media wants to tell us, but what is representative of the taxpayers, the parents and the grandparents and the children of Hendersonville. I haven't noticed anything representing our Hispanic population, our Islamic population, our Jewish population. So again, I'll leave you with this question. What decorations are we gonna put up on June 1st? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Our next speaker is Hope Hardy.
Good evening or afternoon. My name is Hope Hardy. I'm a resident of Sumner County for 45 years. Kind of born and raised here, I guess. My reason for being here today is in hopes of getting answers to questions, to getting facts, not fiction, not social media drama and hype. I also want to say that I'm a very passionate person, and I live my life with zeal. And that being said, I'm also a believer, a Christ follower. I study the scripture, so I know how important context is. So I think that regarding this matter, it's important that we get the facts, the truth, and the context. What led me to this was I wrote my initial letter that I was upset about what had transpired, and I was at the event. I arrived at 8:30 Saturday morning. So I wrote my letter to the commissioners and the library board with my points and things that I thought to be true. And then after I wrote my letter, I started seeing some contradictory, some twisted truths, some things that weren't true that I knew weren't true because I was there. And so it made me start questioning, are we getting the whole story? Is what I'm hearing true? Did I just jump on a bandwagon? So I prayed. And I prayed about it, and God pricked my heart, opened my eyes and my ears, and to say, Hope, there are two sides to every story. There is context is important. And so after that, I wrote another letter a rebuttal of my first letter to say that, hey, I was wrong about some things. And if I was wrong about this, what else am I wrong about? So I think we all just need to take a deep breath. The community needs to settle down. And I just really respect Mayor Isabel's comments at the beginning. Thank you for those. Thank you, Renee, for your comments. I think that we are a community that focuses on loving one another and doing what is right. And I hope that we can come to that today. Mistakes were made, no doubt, but I think they were made on both sides. And I think it's important that we hear both sides. So hopefully today you will present some of that both side evidence, and we'll get some answers to questions that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Marilyn Gleist. Was that who just, did I say that correctly?
Good afternoon. My name is Marilyn Kleist, and I'm Alan's sister. This has been a extremely difficult 2 weeks for all of us. This has impacted me so much. I have felt like I have read every single comment that I have possibly been able to read to try to get a heightened awareness of what's going on. And definitely, it cuts me to the core to like read that stuff because it's my brother and it feels like it's being said about me. During this time, ever since that event day, my brother's political views and faith have been questioned. His name has been completely slandered online, which will impact him personally forever. Assumptions and accusations have been made about the handling of the Kirk Cameron event. However, there are several people, which include Kirk Cameron's team, which were a part of the failures and success of that day. However, only my brother and the library staff have been blamed. This has resulted in horrible vilification and threats against them and their families, which will leave a permanent scar on all of them. I want you to know my brother's a man of faith, and that faith in God guides him in everything in his life. I want to humbly ask you to please stop the vilification of him and the library staff. An attack on them is an attack on all of us that know and love him. I'm here to stand with Alan and your community today, and I hope that there can be healing. And I just thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Gladys. Our next speaker is Bethany McClellan.
Hey y'all, good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to come in and speak to you guys. I really had not planned on saying anything today, but after just a lot of reflection and prayer and considering the events that happened, I just wanted to come forward and just say a few quick things. I was there that day. I'm a Sumner County resident. I was there, arrived about 8:30, and of course all the things that everyone's been reading is accurate. People were standing outside in the cold with their children in the rain. They were not allowed to enter the library. I know the library was not open at that time, so perhaps that may have played a part in it. But I just know that Kirk Cameron and Riley Gaines and Missy Robertson are people of integrity and character. And I happen to know one of them very well and have known them for over 35 years. And they're dear friends to me and my family. And so it's frustrating to me as the family of Mr. Morales when you hear people slander and say disparaging things about them in the media. Of course, they can handle it. They're public figures and they're accustomed to that, but it's difficult to hear. I know there are a lot of hurt feelings. I'm certainly not up here to say anything ugly or negative about Mr. Morales. However, I do want to speak to perhaps his motive or intent that day. When I found out on Wednesday that it was going to be canceled, I promptly called the library and I spoke to someone who's a gentleman. I can only assume it was Mr. Morales. I don't know how many males work at the library. But I was told that the event was going to be canceled. They hadn't made their final decision, but that it most likely was going to be canceled. And the reasons that I was given were things like parking, the crowds. They were probably going to have to get the city involved and the police involved. And so those were the factors that they were looking at. And I just expressed to that gentleman my disappointment. My family was so excited about attending the event. We were really, really excited that our community could host an event like this, and I just expressed my disappointment. I then go to church later on that evening, and I was speaking with one of our elders' wives who told me she happened to be at the library that day. She had taken her grandsons to the story hour that they have. I actually live in Portland and go to that library most often, but I do know they have story hours like they do in Portland. And so Mr. Morales had come into a room full of mothers and grandmothers who were there with their children and grandchildren and said, you guys are going to probably hear this on the news, so I want to go ahead and let you know that there was an event scheduled with Kirk Cameron and it's going to be canceled because our library needs to be a place that's welcoming to everyone. So obviously this is secondhand information, but I think it speaks to his intent was not dealing with parking or other things of that nature, but that he wanted to make a decision based on his personal views. And I feel like that is a problem that the library needs to look at, is how these decisions are made going forward, that people aren't making things based upon their own views about what they think is appropriate, but taking the community and what the community wants to see as a whole. I think that's really important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McClellan. Our next speaker is Debbie Anglin.
I'm Debbie Anglin. I have lived in Sumner County all my life. Very proud. And I did attend the event. How many here attended the event? I'm just curious. And it was a great event. It was fabulous. Nobody there knew that anything had gone on that was unkind. The speakers were very professional, and the room was full of joy and love and kindness, and that's what they wanted to give. Unfortunately, when they tried the three people tried to do their promos, they were very, they asked for 60 seconds, is all they asked was 60 seconds. Can you be quiet just for 60 seconds? And the staff did not grant them that. My grievance is that now our community has gotten a bad vibe over something that really was a fabulous event. It was wonderful, filled with Christians and kindness and love, biblical teachings. And that was not biblical teachings. And so I personally feel like they owe those three speakers an apology. I don't know that who instigated it. I don't know if that's just their personal feeling that they didn't want the event to be there, but very sadly, that was how they were treated. And none of them, I think, walked away as a bad event. I know personally one of them that we know very, very well, went to lunch with them, and had not one negative thing to say. It was very, very positive. So I just hated that Sumner County, Hendersonville, Tennessee now, has this big negative that everybody's focusing on when it was such a positive event. So I just hope that they will re-look at how that was handled. That's the main thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anglin. Our next speaker is Mr. Tim Jones.
Hi, my name is Tim Jones. I live at 112 Georgetown Drive in Hendersonville. The Hendersonville Public Library is in my district. And I wanted to, there's been a lot of speculation and hyperbole surrounding the events of Saturday, February 25th. I'm just here to give you the facts that I gathered from my experience there. I was there before the event started and stayed till after it ended. I was there with Mayor Isbell. And if anybody knows my nature, I try to help wherever I can. So every person that I met, I asked them how things were going. Is there anything we could do to help? So the first person, when the doors opened, that I met was Missy Robertson. I shook hands with her and introduced myself as a county commissioner. I said, how's today going? Is there anything I could do to help? First words out of her mouth were, you have a very rude library staff. I was horrified. And I said, I'm so sorry what happened. She shared her story, and it's all over YouTube now. That's how the day went. I let a security guard know who I was because I was going in and out the door many times. And just because I introduced who I was he offered to me the same account or something similar about rudeness. Again, unsolicited, just offered it to me. Next interaction was with Kirk Cameron, and we took a photo with him, and he just mentioned, wow, your staff is being very rude. And after the event concluded, I was standing outside and I overheard Riley Gaines talking to a group of people about her experience with the event, and it troubled me because now she's talking to the public about her experience about it. And at this point in time, I had no reason to question any of the speakers that were reporting this, because they were all doing it on their own freely without being asked. So I knew something happened. So when her conversation finished, I began talking to her, and she mentioned that there was a video of the disruptions, and she got that for me from Missy Robertson's phone, and everybody's seen it by now. It's all over the place. Joanna Daniels arrived, one of your colleagues, shortly after that, towards the end of the event, and I just let her know that there's some issues we need to probably start looking at. And she started interviewing people and asking the right questions and everything, and she did that privately with all of them. Then I got from a anonymous staffer some information came to me that was written out of the occurrences of the day. And just keep in mind, everybody, this is not my words. I'm reading what a library staffer reported to me. If I could ask for some more time, because this is very critical at this point. This is spoken written accounts from a couple of library workers who told similar disturbing story, and it states very clearly that a separate individual, and I'm just going to refer to them as a triggered person, and you'll understand why in a minute, was the contributing factor that led to all the other disturbances. And the problematic quotes are as follows. I watched some of the taping from upstairs with name redacted. I'm going to keep that out. He or she was telling me how mad he or she was that Kirk was even there, and that he or she would like to throw a book at them because he or she felt this whole situation was bullying. Name redacted again stated that it was not right that they were there because they were bullies. He or she started kicking carts and the door, yelling like he or she was having a lot of fun. Someone turned up the music as well. Now keep in mind, this is while they're out there taping with permission from Alan. They're out there taping in the lobby, recording promos. Name redacted was rude to Riley. Meanwhile, I told the back that they needed 60 seconds of quiet to finish up. Alicia turned off the radio, and we were quiet for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then somebody accidentally dropped a book, and name redacted started right up again, being loud. I was embarrassed, so I started walking away. Riley came to the front desk and stated that we were being quite disrespectful. People quieted down, but name redacted was still thinking that we're bullying her or him. I had to take him or her to the back room and told her or him to be quiet. Now, for the record, I know not everybody on the library staff was guilty. There was just a minority of staff or leadership that caused problems. The staff should be, as a whole, treated with respect. And I'm saying that to everybody. You don't know who the individual was, and there's a lot of good people down there at the library. So as a whole, they all need to be treated well. The hateful rhetoric needs to stop. The county commission has been asked why they have not got involved in this, and most of it because they weren't there. But I personally have asked people to take down posts that had mean and hateful things, some up to 300 comments that the person that posted it didn't know all the facts of the situation, and they learned a little bit more and they gladly took them down because they saw it was nothing coming of it, except for providing a venue for gladiators just to come battle it out. It was ridiculous. I do not think Alan Morales is a bad man. I think he made some bad decisions. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Our next speaker, I cannot read the handwriting. Irving is the last name. So would you please tell us your first name?
Yes, gladly. It's Harriet Irving Jones. Thank you. I live in Hendersonville, Clifftop Drive. I am a military wife, a mother, a resident of Hendersonville, and an immigrant. This was my first book reading event ever. I was enthused to take my husband and my 4-year-old to this event as a community event in the library in Hendersonville by a Christian personality in the Bible Belt. We arrived at 8:30. We started to queue just like everybody else. It was cold, it was miserable, it was raining. My daughter's lips at one point was going blue. And we finally got into the library about 10:20. I thought it strange why we were standing outside for such a long time, why there was no charitable Christian charity to allow us in because it was so cold. And I also found it very strange that we entered the library through the side door. But anyway, as we were there, I saw Kirk and I heard Kirk say to his team, "Please get these people in," and his words were, "Make it happen." And I heard him say that, and I was very grateful because it was so cold. I was grateful for him to let us get inside. Anyway, I have a few questions. Is this the way that the city of Hendersonville welcomes event speakers at a children's book reading at a public library? Do you find the way in which the staff represented the city of Hendersonville to be becoming of our city, our hospitality and our traditions? If the city of Hendersonville public servants disagrees with an event, do they have the right to cause public disturbance and have disregard to their own professional conduct when dealing with the public? Are Christian-based children's book reading events so offensive in Hendersonville and the library staff that such disrespect and discourteousness had to transpire? I would like you ladies to communicate with us on the actions that you will take against woke activist librarians, or in this instance, a librarian. The leadership was indeed weak. Libraries are a place of joy, but that particular day it was a place of drama. I am confident that this drama is not going to go away, and it shouldn't. The allegations made by the speakers are serious enough to warrant immediate staff terminations, as would happen in the corporate environment, so as to uphold meticulous standards of care to each and every member of this community. As a taxpayer, I do not want to spend money on retraining. I do not want excuses. I want activists to be removed from employment if this is how they are going to conduct themselves with my tax dollars. There are consequences for actions, and I want accountability for my tax dollars. Library staff, if indeed they have mental health issues, do not need to be working in a library, and that day full of mothers and children and grandparents at a Christian book event in the Bible Belt. Thank you.
I know some people came in late. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
That's a point of clarification that I wanted to make sure that was known. I had referred to a redacted person in all my readings. That was not Alan Morales. That redacted person was not Alan Morales. It was another staffer. So just wanted that to be clear.
Thank you. Anyone else? This closes the public recognition section. The next thing, we have approved our agenda. We need to approve the minutes from January the 9th and the minutes from February the 22nd. Do I hear a motion? Diane Johnson makes the motion to approve both sets of minutes. Debbie? The 11th. Sorry. January the 11th and February the 22nd. Thank you. I think it's correct on the website. Diane made the motion. Debbie second. All in favor say aye or raise your hand. Motion. Okay, our old business, we need to elect the chairperson. We have since had our secretary to resign. So, but we can deal with vice chairperson today. I will put secretary on the next meeting unless you want to vote to do both of them today. And add that to the agenda. Let's go. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to nominate Joanna Daniels as the vice chair.
Okay. Do I have a second? Okay. Thank you.
Eric says something.
Just vice chair. Okay. I have a motion by Ruth, a second by Debbie Martin. All in favor say aye. And any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay. Discussion about recently drafted bylaws. That's a lengthy document. I would like to table that and let us just tackle that. We have a special call meeting addressed for April the 2nd. And and it's already on the agenda, so we can just take all of that to April the 2nd. Yes, ma'am.
So that would be discussion and voting on paper?
Yes, if we get through it, yes, we can also vote on it that day because they've had it for over 30 days.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Debbie.
If there are some minor, and it looks like just typographical
Yes.
things, can we go ahead and send that? If that changes, we have to.
I know on the website it is still wrong.
Yes.
It is still, I don't know how that keeps happening, but it's still wrong on the website. So we're going to have to get that changed on that because it's not what we voted on.
This is what I have, and 3 Hendersonville and 2 at large, right?
No, that's wrong. That's not what we voted on.
Okay.
It's 2 from Hendersonville,
I must-
3 at large.
I don't know why it keeps changing it.
And so, yeah, but that's not what we voted on.
But to clarify, so then we can make changes?
Yes, we can make changes that day. Yeah, if you want to make changes online and send it to me. And I just want it to be sure and say what we voted on at that first special call, at the committee meeting, and then get it on the website. And, one of us can correct it. Joanna's the one that wrote it up, so one of us can correct it. And, okay. The next one is, I'm sorry,
You're going to need to vote on moving that to April 2nd.
it's already on the April 2nd special call.
You got it on this one.
Okay, so, okay. Do I have a motion to move our discussion, combined discussion and voting of bylaws? I have a motion from, second by Debbie. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Now, the new business is just the report from our treasurer, Diane Johnson, on the 2024 budget.
Yes. All fiscal year 2024 budget worksheets have been turned in by the deadline. We will get them back sometime at the end of March, beginning of April. And then in the first half of May, we will be given an appointment time to go over to the county budget committee to discuss them. The only thing is I did get a call back from the finance department where when we turned them in, we had asked for a 4% COLA and a 4% across the board of non-payroll. They've asked me to go back to those worksheets and correct the non-payroll to add in the 4%. The COLA, they will take care of themselves. It doesn't mean that that's been approved. They just want me to update those worksheets. So those will be returned in by Friday. On Monday, March 13th, we met with the county budget committee. The remaining payroll that was in the library system account, we had put in our transfer request back out to the different libraries, and that was approved. The only money left in the library system account currently is the bookkeeper's salary, because she still is employed under that position. But if she wants to remain with the library, she'll apply for another posted position, and then we'll see how that goes. At that time, when that final outcome is decided, then I will transfer those remaining funds wherever they need to go. ARPA funds, we were alerted by the finance department that ARPA funds are still available for us to apply for. This is not a grant. 2 libraries turned in a request for ARPA funds. That was Gallatin for some very needed carpeting replacement and Westmoreland to fix some of their drainage issues. Those requests had also been presented at the Monday night meeting. There was no approval or denial, but we have until they'll come back on April 14th with full bids and quotes presented to them at that time, and then they'll make their decision on what projects they're going to include. And then the tech grant, I got all those transfers submitted. They were also approved on Monday night. So any equipment that was to be ordered under this year's technology grant can now start to be purchased. And I did meet with the IT department before coming to this department and let them know. So purchases will begin right away. And that's all I have.
Okay. As soon as we find out about how to get those last bit of funds out of that system account into the correct account,
Yes, that
and I will try to put that on the April.
Yes.
The April 6th, go ahead and take care of that as soon as we can.
Right, and I'll work with finance regarding any benefit of dollar amounts that's still in the account. But as long as a decision has made one way or the other with Susan, then they will give me the final totals and we'll put those transfers together.
Okay. Do I have a motion and a second to accept the treasurer's report? I've got Debbie with a motion, Joanna with a second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. The next item on our agenda is the Kirk Henry event. And if we're going to be discussing personnel issues, those are private, and we will have to go into executive session with the county attorney to do that. So we will go into executive session, and bring 112, I think, is available because it was reserved for us anyway. So we will do that and have a discussion and come back to finish the meeting. Do I have a motion to go into executive session? Joanna, Diane seconds it. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. So we will come back and